Hello there, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us this evening on Rwanda Television News. We do hope you had yourselves a productive day, and now this is what makes our top stories tonight. On Monday, President Paul Kagame arrived in Bali, Indonesia, where he joins world leaders for this year's G20 summit. Members of the parliament are of the view that no government official should use the privilege given to them and act inappropriately. Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has urged prosecutors to do what it takes, prosecutors who took oath rather to do what it takes and start their duties with professionalism and fight against corruption. A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa, and as we kick it off tonight, on Monday, President Paul Kagame arrived in Bali, Indonesia, where he joins world leaders for this year's G20 summit. President Paul Kagame will be attending the annual meeting of leaders from the world's major economies, known as the Group of 20 Nations, in his capacity as the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, Heads and Government Orientation Committee. The meeting will discuss three priorities of Indonesia's G20 presidency, including global health, architecture, digital transformations, and sustainable energy transitions. President Paul Kagame also on Monday met with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. They exchanged on ways to further strengthen existing bilateral relations between Rwanda and Japan in the sectors of climate change, mitigation, infrastructure development, and public-private sector investments. Moving ahead, members of the parliament are of the view that no government official should use the privilege given to them and act inappropriately. This comes after the plenary session of the Chamber of Deputies announced the resignation of Mbonimana Gamariel due to misconduct. We do have the report. This is one of the topics that were discussed during the plenary session of the Chamber of Deputies on Monday. The Deputy Speaker of the Chamber of Parliament, Oda Mukabagwiza, noted that the resignation of former Deputy Mbonimana Gamariel was received and accepted, and that this topic will not be debated upon as stipulated by the law. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, in a plenary session that follows the first plenary session to receive the resignation, informs the Parliament that the MP is no longer a member of the Rwandan Parliament. The announcement is not debatable. In an interview with RBA, Deputy Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, Oda Mukabagwiza, noted that there are provisions of the law regarding a member of Parliament to step down from the Parliament. We first informed the President of the Republic about the resignation. We did that with a copy to the Senate President, Chief Justice, the Prime Minister, as well as the Electoral Commission, so that he can be replaced. In the opinion of legal analysts, even though there are leaders in various institutions who are given immunity by law, including MPs, this immunity is limited mainly to the opinions they give. This removes the confusion and provides a platform on what leaders should be held accountable for, including their conducts. It would be a big problem. It even doesn't exist anywhere in the world where an official shouldn't be held accountable for their actions before their subordinates. It could be very wrong. It doesn't even exist anywhere in the world. The resignation of Mbonimana comes after President Paul Kagame's comments on individuals who use their positions and influence to break the law. Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente has urged prosecutors who took the oath to start their duties with professionalism and fight corruption in their responsibilities. On Monday, Prime Minister received the oath of 25 prosecutors who were recently appointed to their duties. Olimnete filed this report.
Those sworn in are 4 prosecutors at the intermediate level, 12 prosecutors at the premier level, and 9 prosecutors under contract. The new appointed prosecutors vow to be characterized by integrity in their new responsibilities.
ntekereza ko twinjiye muri uyu mwuga w'ubushinjacyaha.
I believe we are the game changers in the field. We will do our very best and work at high speed to fill the current gaps so that the resident can get justice as the law preserves.
Nk'uko amategeko abibagenera.
Icyambere nuko abantu babasanzwe bafite.
The first thing is that people already have family values. We also have values that we were taught in schools, and the current world is driven by technology. We believe that we will make it.
Dufite icyizere yuko tuzabigeraho.
Currently, the prosecutor's office receives about 84,000 cases every year from the Rwanda Investigative Bureau. But with the help of technology and commitment, these cases are processed on time at a rate of 90%. The Prosecutor General Havugiyaremye Aimable points out that the increase in number of prosecutors is of a great importance.
This means that we have gained more strength to speed up the processing of the cases we receive and processing them appropriately.
The Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente urged those who sworn into these duties to be diligent in their work. He also requested them to reinforce the use of technology in order to speed up the cases of those who need justice services. He emphasized that a prosecutor should be characterized by great values.
The values that characterizes a prosecutor are values that characterize a good Rwandan, including integrity, and a person with integrity avoids everything that we mentioned above. As our oath requires, we urge you to be characterized by integrity. If you follow the oath, you will fully fulfill your responsibilities, and that assists you in the responsibilities. Another thing is to fight corruption and avoid it. This includes fighting it by not accepting it, but also fighting it generally by carrying out your responsibilities in case you are to prosecute who accepted or gave corruption.
Currently, there are 217 prosecutors in Rwanda, including 22 at the national level, 12 chief prosecutors at the intermediate level, 83 prosecutors at the intermediate level, 70 at the premier level, and 30 prosecutors under contract. Olive Nete, our TV News.
Thank you, Olive, for the report. Moving ahead, motorcyclists in the city of Kigali are happy with the decision to dissolve their cooperatives from 41 to 5, and the contributions they were being required to pay was removed. It is in order to improve their work and avoid disorder. Adam Squizera has this report.
It's a decision that was announced to the 20,000 motorcyclists in Kigali city. The Director General of RODA, Patrick Vaganizi, noted that these measures was set to avoid disorders among motorcyclists. Cooperatives existed before. All the motorcyclists were supposed to provide contribution that made the cooperative exist and operates, and sometimes the leaders took the contribution as their own money, which caused some conflicts in the cooperatives. The measure we took is that motorcyclists themselves will vote for their management and the supervisory body, and then they will find a permanent employee to monitor their activities, and that employee will be paid by the government, plus the security guards of the cooperative, which will also be paid by the government. Some motorcyclists are happy about this decision, although they are the request that they make to be also concerned. There were many issues of disorder, plus working where we weren't having enough security. Literally, we faced many challenges, including our leadership. Meanwhile, we don't have where to ask for us, hence to be our basic challenge. The Director General of Rwanda Cooperative Agency, RCA, Professor Harerimana Jean Bosco, points out how these cooperatives will operate towards the development. The benefits are on their own, since they will no longer pay unnecessary contribution, and the government benefit is to be having a citizens working in a good condition and developing himself, as we want them in future to be also having buses as part of their development. Currently, in Nyarugenge district, there are 2 cooperatives, same to Gasabo district, while for Kicukiro district, they have 1 cooperative, and all those cooperatives will operate under the sector level. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
In only 10 months of the year 2022, the prices on the markets have been on the rise at the rate of 15.8%. Traders, consumers and economic analysts find that it requires more measures to deal with the extreme rise in prices, especially for food products. Adam Squizera continues.
The cost of every kind of products on the market has been rising on a daily basis, as customers and vendors agree that this is a serious issue to be concerned about. The way I used to work is totally different to currently, since the consumer finds out prices increased. Meanwhile, the money flow is not as before. Strato Habyarimana, an economist, knows that if market prices continue to rise at this rate, it could be detrimental to the economy. If it delays, it may have an impact on the economy. Like if you were planning to invest, you might put it on pending to see where it heads. Since when planning to hire employees who will ask you for expensive salary, or they will start asking you to increase their salary because things are rising on the market, you will say, let me slow down it. If you say that, the economy itself will be stopped. Karango Kase, the Director of Domestic Trade at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, notes that the 2 factors that have contributed this year's increase of market price variation, which are the price of petroleum products and inflation. You know, when the price of gasoline and diesel increases, even transportation prices increases too. It makes the goods become expensive, depending on the increase of transportation, and the other reason is the fluctuation of the exchange rate or the value of currency, which causes the prices to rise. However, Karango Kasie points out that although prices have continued to rise, there are measures that was taken by the government to prevent this unconditioned hike of price. There are measures taken by the government to provide support in different sectors, including providing fertilizer, which usually came from foreign countries. And you also know that petroleum price last time was reduced by 20 francs per litre of gasoline and 29 francs per litre of diesel, which gives us confidence that it will not continue to rise. According to the statistics revealed by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, shows that in January this year, the CPI of urban index increased to 4.3%, while rural index increased by 0.8% the same month. In the beginning of May, the consumer price index increased to 12.6%. As for August, the CPI was at 15.9%. In October, the consumer price index increased to 20.1%, which means that within only 10 months, the consumer's price increased by 15.8%. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
In preparations for the 47th independence of Angola celebrations that are scheduled on 15th November 2022, the Ambassador of Angola to Rwanda, His Excellency Eduardo Filomono Barbaliero Octavio, is proud of the cooperation and good relations between Rwanda and Angola. In a press conference on Monday, he noted some of the various developmental activities in the sectors of agriculture, education, business, and more that the 2 countries are partnering in.
In this first meeting, we're able to approve 9 agreements in different fields, in highlights in the field of agriculture, health, oil and gas, justice, human rights, and also agreement in extradition, agreement for mutual legal assistance in criminal matters for both countries. So we are mandated to continue strengthen these relationships so that we continue to grow in a better way.
Professor Ismail Bukanani noted that the good Rwanda-Angola relations have promoted the development of education sector, but mostly the study of the Portuguese language.
So I think we have 4 official languages, English, French, Swahili. So addition to Portuguese, you understand that this is how we are tackling with the globalization issues. Today we are here to make sure at the think tank and some university lecturers, we want to collaborate with the Angola counterpart. We want to have this synergy of working together. So we'll be moderating the session tomorrow, whereby we'll be looking at different challenges of Africans, and we have also looking at the gap between African lecturers.
And on behalf of the entire news production, as well as the technical team that made it happen, many thanks for being with us on this edition of Rwanda Television News. We wish you safe and a fruitful week ahead. Goodbye.